And welcome back to another video with SirLucien and Mechwarrior Online. Today we have the patch notes. It is February 16th. This will be for patch 1.4.53, basically the Rifleman patch. So as you can see here, as you read through this, we'll just read the top part here. The resurgence of classic Inner Sphere mechs continues, like the Marauder and the Warhammer before it. Warhammer was last month. The Rifleman is now once again stomping onto the battlefields across the Inner Sphere. The Archer is now in production to complete this lance of classic Inner Sphere heavies. So this will be the next mech that will be released. And they've already started talking about a Clans mech. So never to be outdone, the Clans have begun production on the first of their classic totem mechs, the 100-ton Kodiak. That one should be a pretty fun mech. All right. So what's in the patch? So obviously the Rifleman's in the patch, and we have some variants in the hero mech. We'll see that a little bit further down in the patch notes. There is something interesting about the 4 brand new gray block test maps are being released in this patch, intended purely with future competitive gameplay in mind. So I'm guessing we're talking about something like an esport for our Mechwarrior Online. We'll be actively seeking your feedback on the layout and sightlines in these maps from a competitive standpoint. To that end, we'll soon be establishing a dedicated subforum to complete feedback and centralized discussion, not just regarding these new test maps, but toward competitive gameplay in Mechwarrior Online as a whole. We intend to iterate on these maps with every patch. So they talk about that a little bit more. This is just kind of the preamble, the opening salvo to the patch notes, but then we get a little bit into the actual patch notes. So Rifleman's a heavy mech. Obviously, you're going to have various loadouts. They've been advertising these different loadouts throughout the game, or throughout the last month, and even before that, if you did the early bird and that kind of things. They do give you the dates if you're just going to go ahead and wait. If you didn't buy the early packages, then if you're going to buy it with your MC, your Mechwarrior credits, then you're going to wait till May 3rd. And if you want to start buying it with C-bills, which means you don't want to spend any money, but you just want to use in-game money, which is absolutely fine for the game, you're going to be able to buy it on June 7th, just so you can see that. So here's some information about the new test maps in the private lobbies only. They are versions of the maps for 1v1, 2v2, 4v4 test A, 4v4 test B, and there are some settings that you need to set to make sure that this works. There is no 3v3 map at the moment. So some of those things you need to do is the standard option. You can go ahead and set this. And this was something I didn't even know really until I was reading the patch notes about premium time requirements, that to start a private match, you needed to have, I think it was 2 people in to have the premium option, so that you have your premiums active. Whereas I think they've removed that. So let's see if it says that here. So to clarify, these are the updated rules for accessing premium options in private lobbies as of this patch. Standard options, no premium requirements whatsoever. So you can choose game mode, map, and region. Class 1 premium options, which means at least one player in the lobby has to have an active premium time. Then you can adjust tonnage rules, match time, time of day, and view mode. Class 2 premium options, which requires that at least 2 players in the lobby have active premium time, full teams. Okay, so if you have a couple of people that are playing that don't have premium time active, like me, I don't have any premium time active at the moment, the things that I could change would be game mode, map, and region, just so you know. So I'll see if I can, I've not done any private matches, but maybe, if some of you guys are watching these videos would like to help out, send me a message on YouTube or put a comment down here in the video, because I wouldn't mind getting in and doing some recording on just to see what these maps look like and just to try them out and, get some videos of them up on YouTube would be great. So if you guys want to help out with that, let me know, because I assume I can't just start a match by myself. I assume I have to have at least one other person. So there are some new badges and titles, as you can see. Rifleman Standard Pack, Rifleman Collector Pack, so you can see those. New cockpit items. We've got the Phoenix Alexandrite Purple. It's a hanging item. Legend Killer, standing item. Legend Killer, Warhorn. And the Solaris Metal Early Adopter hanging item. You can see there. Those also can be purchased for your MC. mechs that are now available for MC. So those things that have not previously been purchasable, you had to have been in the early programs to get in them. Orion 2C. So that is now, as you can see, 3,000 up to 4,000 MC, depending on the variant you're looking for. The mechs that you can now buy for C bills, obviously the Jenner 2C. And they range anywhere from 6.9, looks like the lowest one might be 6.4 million C bills for those Jenners. And the Jenners are a really good mech, even the regular, so I'm sure the clan mechs are great. Audio fixes and changes. Added a sound effect when opening and closing the battlefield grid. That's interesting. So as you're hitting B, which is the default to open your battle grid, you'll hear a sound effect for that. Improved dropship internal rumble sound effect. We'll have to listen for that in the videos. Added a sound effect when a laser turret hits a mech. So that way you know when you're being hit by one of the laser turrets. The laser turrets you don't see in quick play matches. You will see those in the faction play matches. Many of the maps will have laser turrets defending certain objectives. So if you haven't played any faction play, then you might not have seen the laser turrets. Fixed an issue where clan medium pulse lasers wouldn't play a sound effect on HPG manifold, one of the maps, one of my favorite maps, in fact. Added a sound effect when toggling advanced zoom. So when you zoom in, zoom out, there's going to be a sound effect for that. Lots of game fixes. We'll go through these fairly quickly. Fixed an issue where the amount of fall damage taken would scale with the amount of leg structure quirks present on a mech. Fixed an issue where the captured accelerator module would not boost capture rate if the player has also unlocked the UAV upgrade. So I'm sure that affected some people. Fixed an issue where shooting a target at exactly max range would do full damage. So right on that point of the exact max range. If it was 1200, if you hit somebody right at 1200, it would do full damage instead of the bleeding off damage. Fixed an issue where players could be assigned company or lance command without requesting it. Fixed an issue where bonuses received from narc quirks were being calculated after the bonus received from an equipment enhanced narc module. Narc quirks, that's a hard thing to say fast, are now calculated from the base mech stats. Bonuses from the enhanced narc module are now calculated based on the quirked states. Fixed an issue where seismic sensor would only pick up weapons fire from an enemy mech if they were not in line of sight. Interesting. Fixed an issue where equipping the artillery accuracy module could cause consumable in slot 1 not to function. Fixed an issue where using advanced zoom and third-person view would make the weapon reticle appear off target. So that probably made it hard to shoot things in third-person view, although I'm not sure how many people play in third-person view. There may be quite a few. Fixed an issue where using advanced zoom and third-person view would cause the mech head to obstruct the advanced zoom window. That would definitely be annoying. Fixed an issue where the current field of view setting would affect the default zoom value displayed on the HUD. Fixed an issue in the public group queue where groups of 4 would sometimes be incorrectly split up across multiple lances. That will probably be a pretty big one for a lot of people, because I do see in chat quite often where you'll have people asking to be moved if they weren't automatically the lance captain or even the overall commander. They wouldn't be able to move their guys around. So I've seen that in chat. Hopefully that fixes that whole issue. Fixed an issue where mechs could still open and close their weapon doors when overheated or shut down. I'm not sure why that's relevant, but okay, it's fixed. Fixed an issue where weapon groups could appear visually shuffled in a match when 10 or more weapons have been equipped. I can't believe that a mech can have 10 or more weapons, but okay. That's not the Battletech way, but I guess that's the Mechwarrior way. Fixed an issue where the hit and run match reward could be provided without fulfilling its conditions. All right, so that's now fixed. Fixed an issue where damage received from airstrikes and artillery strikes was not listed in the destroyed screen, as my phone keeps buzzing. Fixed an issue where hitting a mech with weapons fire could cause environmental damage particles to appear behind it. And then there's some big changes here on things like the clan targeting computer, which I haven't really used much because I haven't done a lot of the clan mechs. Just make sure my phone here is off. Okay. And so it's saying here, all clan targeting computers are receiving adjustments to the majority of their values listed below. And then the advanced zoom, sensor range, and targeting time bonus boosts received from the targeting computers are all unchanged from their previous values and are not listed below. So these are just things that are changed. So the targeting computer, Mark 1, gets an increase in level 1 boost, an increase in level 2 boost, a beam range boost, projectile speed boost, critical chance 1. So it's all kind of an increase, it looks like. So increase to 10%. 14, 4, 5, 5, 2.75, and 0.55. So it looks like each of these things are being increased slightly. I'm not seeing any decreases in the different computers. And there appears to be a lot of them. So it looks like basically, to me, I read that as a buff to the targeting computer. Critical chances are kind of a small increase, but zoom levels are a pretty substantial increase when you've got things like 15 to 20%, 20 to 27%, and so on and so on. So as you can see here. So for those of you that are using targeting computers, you're going to see a slight increase in their effectiveness. Flamers. The following values have been adjusted for flamers. So just a totally new thing here. Amount of damage per second has been decreased from 0.7 to 0.1. So the actual damage is significantly smaller, but the amount of heat per second applied to an enemy mech has been increased from 0 to 4.5. It's odd to me that the flamer didn't increase the heat of a mech. I always thought that was the point of the flamer, is that it would add heat to the mech that you were hitting it with. But the way these numbers read, it makes it sound like there was never any heat being given over to the mech. You were only doing damage to them, a small portion. And I assume since it's something that you hold down and you just stream on continuously, that's why this number needs to be smaller. But it's interesting that now it's jumped quite a bit up. So duration of time before heat starts to affect your own mech. So using a flamethrower puts heat on another mech, but will eventually start to generate heat for you also, is the way that I'm reading this. And has been shortened from 6.25 to 4.75 seconds. So to me, you're going to start heating up a little bit quicker. You're going to be adding quite a bit of heat, it seems like to me, to other mechs you're hitting with this, and you're going to be doing less damage than you were before, even though you probably weren't doing a ton of damage with it in the first place. Flamer visuals. Here's a big one, too, I thought was a really big one, because I've been using the Firestarter a little bit here and there. Flamer visuals have been adjusted to minimize the blinding effect caused by their use. So that was a big thing when you were using your, I had 4 of them on the Firestarter, and when you turned all 4 on, you really couldn't see what was in front of you at all. So it was really hard to want to keep using something like that completely blinds you. So we'll have to check that effect out at some point when I get back into game. The mask, Mechwarrior accelerator signal circuitry. All mask items are receiving increases to their speed, boost, turn rates, accel, decel rates, and recharge rate. The rate at which the mask is burned is not changing and will remain at a burn rate of 10% per second. So this is like, I think of it as like maybe nitrous, It gives you a speed boost for up to 20%. So it gives you quite a bit more, but it can wear out. You don't have an unlimited number of this boost. Turn rate increase, acceleration increase, deceleration increase, as you can see. So all of these numbers are pretty significant. This is almost doubled, not quite doubled, speed boost and that kind of stuff. These are the inner sphere, Mark 1s through Mark 5s, as you can see here. And then you have the clan ones, Mark 1s through Mark 4s. And they are also getting the increase too. Again, it's not a consumable or unit piece I've used quite often. Now that I've seen it in the patch notes, I might add it to one of my mechs just to see what it does and how it works, because I have not used this, and I assume it's a consumable that you buy per match, and if you use it up, you have to buy another one. Quirks. There are broad changes you'll see in the quirk pass. So all remaining negative detrimental weapon quirks on clan mechs have been removed. A small amount of negative armor and turn quirks remain for certain variants. All intersphere energy range quirks are now set at 10% if they were present. This 10% standardization applies specifically to energy range quirks. Weapon-specific range quirks are not affected by this change. These are the more specific changes not covered by the 2 broad changes listed above. So then they just kind of list out a couple more here, which I'm not going to go through all of those. We'll just kind of paraphrase or just kind of browse through here. It looks like there's a few changes to the Blackjacks, some of the Highlanders, the Jenners, a couple Jenners, Quick Draws, Locusts, Panthers, and Spiders. So those are the only ones that are outside of these general changes. Then we get down to map fixes. I always like map fixes because a lot of things on the maps anybody can fall into no matter what's going on. So Canyon Network, trees and certain rock formations are now breakable. So that's cool. They've been slowly adding this to each of the maps, the trees that fall down when you knock into them. Crimson Straits, trees and streetlights are now breakable. Caustic Valley, smooth out the terrain in some problematic areas, but it doesn't tell us where. Remove collision from the smaller pebbles and rocks, so that means you can move through them without getting stuck, which would be nice. Viridian Bog, the ultra-large trees now have weapon collision again. Oh, okay, good. Polar Highlands, fixed an issue where the snow could appear to flicker on distant rock formations. Okay. Sulfur Rift, trees are now breakable, so we got more there with Sulfur Rift. Tourmaline Desert, I think that's right, Tourmaline Desert. Fixed an issue where a destroyed component could clip into the ground in E3 sector. That's a very specific idea. Must be a lot of battles happen around E3 though. Vitric Forge, fixed an issue with levitating rocks in the D7 sector. So those are our map fixes. Then we get into mech fixes and changes. All affected mechs fixed an issue where the hard points displayed in the mech lab mech stats paper doll could be inaccurate. So that's supposedly fixed now. All 2C mechs fixed an issue where the 2C mechs were not able to equip an XL engine when there were still sufficient slots available. Black Knight, I run these ones. Black Knight all variants fixed a visual issue with the back legs when using the Franken pattern. Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to skip through some of these. You can go back and read these if you have this mech. So I see stuff in here for Cicada, Catapult, Kit Fox, Stalker. I do run a Stalker. Looks like an appearance thing though. Summoner, Warhammer. Some stuff on Narc. Fixed an issue where Narc duration quirk was not functioning for all mechs with a Narc duration quirk, so it should be now. Fixed some visual issues with the Steiner faction pattern on, as you can see, the Black Knight, Crab, and Mauler. Fixed various jump jet animation issues with the following mechs, and you can see a bunch of different mechs listed here. Of those I have, we have the Grasshopper, which we reviewed not too long ago. I do have a Thunderbolt, Wolverine, Raven, although I don't have a jump jet on my Ravens, but as you can see there. And then a whole list of other fixes and changes. So this is quite a bit. I'm just browsing through here to see if there was anything we should know about. It looks like a lot of smaller stuff. And then there's still some miscellaneous notes and still some known issues. Under certain conditions, flamer particles can render incorrectly when running the MSAA anti-aliasing method. Keep that in mind. So that's really the bulk of this patch. The main thing is it's bringing in, well, probably the main thing is it's stopping the weekend event, which was the Valentine's Day challenge. It's bringing in the new mech, which is the Rifleman. It's going through and fixing some big modules that were out there, like the targeting computer and the mask systems. And the flamers have been completely redone. So we might need to go back and check to see how flamers are being used in-game. Few map fixes here and there, some audio fixes here or there, and some additional things that we can buy either with MC or C-bills. So that is the patch, the 1.4.53. This has been SirLucien. I'm glad you joined. Hope to see you in the next one. Hope to see you in Mechwarrior. Leave a like, leave a comment. go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And thanks for joining. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.